I would never want anyone to mention anything about my family, so I'd never do it about anyone else. It's not what we do. We're fighters.
2 minutes later.
Dan Hooker couldn't grapple a fucking rapist off his ma. You know what I mean?
Okay, strong statement.
Just going back and forth on Twitter.
They're on the same level, they can do that, so. Trash cans.
Okay, so buckle up, because this social media war between Paddy Pimblett and Dan Hooker has completely blown up and turned the entire MMA community on its head, with these two going at each other's throats in the most brutal way possible. This whole mess started when Paddy made some questionable remarks and Dan's raw, unfiltered comeback hit like a sledgehammer, immediately sending everything into total chaos. The verbal warfare has gotten so intense that it even pulled Arman Tsarukyan into the mix, creating another wild twist in what's become the most explosive beef the sport has seen lately.
And a lot of people are saying, like, Justin Gaethje, he's older than that lad. He's 2 years older than Dan Hooker.
That's true.
Dan Hooker couldn't grapple a fucking rapist off his ma.
Here's where things got really messy though. During a recent interview, Paddy Pimblett went way over the line trying to mock Dan Hooker's ground game. What started as standard fighter banter quickly turned into something that had everyone cringing and completely derailed the conversation from actual fighting to whether he'd gone too far. That one moment created an instant firestorm of backlash and triggered a chain reaction that turned an already heated rivalry into something genuinely personal and ugly.
Never want anyone to mention anything about my family, so I'd never do it about anyone else. It's not what we do. We're fighters. We say what we want about each other. Say anything about me, I'll say anything about him. But don't mention families, you know, that's below the belt. And I wish him nothing but the best with it, lad. I hope it all gets resolved. I hope it all gets resolved and he gets to see his child, lad. That's the main thing. But for now, I'm fighting for the world title. He's sitting on the sideline, so when I win this belt, I'm the champ. Don't care if it says interim on it. When I win this belt, I'm the champ, and if he's not back by June, July, he best have to vacate or get stripped, and I am the champ.
Dan Hooker wasn't having any of it, and came back swinging hard once he heard what Paddy said, making it absolutely obvious that this wasn't just trash talk anymore, but a serious personal attack that crossed major boundaries. His response showed zero tolerance, and made it clear this whole thing had shifted from playful rivalry to something much darker and more dangerous. Hooker's exact response was, "It's on site, you fat piece of garbage." But here's what really got people fired up about Paddy's hypocrisy. In that same exact interview, he completely refused to discuss Ilia Topuria's family drama, explaining that he has strict boundaries about what he'll attack and what stays off limits. While fighters can tear each other apart about skills and performance, he made it clear that personal life and family should never enter the equation. He actually showed genuine respect in that moment, saying he hoped things worked out for Topuria, which made his own attack on Hooker look even worse by comparison.
There's a little conflict going around with Dan Hooker and Paddy Pimblett. I was wondering if you were able to, see it or what you thought about it.
I didn't see what they're doing.
Just going back and forth on Twitter.
They're on the same level, they can do that, so. Trash cans.
The situation spiraled even further when Dan Hooker doubled down and went nuclear, directly calling out Paddy for being fake and two-faced, accusing him of acting friendly in person, then stabbing him in the back publicly. Hooker claimed he genuinely believed they had mutual respect, only to feel completely betrayed when the inflammatory comments went viral. But what really shocked everyone and crossed into seriously disturbing territory was Hooker bringing up Ricky in his response. This reference to someone close to Paddy who tragically died by suicide in 2022 added an incredibly dark and inappropriate element to an already toxic situation. Hooker's exact words were, "Haven't said anything. I thought we were mates, but you're not a very good mate, are you, Paddy? Rest in peace, Ricky." Paddy immediately exploded back at Dan, calling out what he saw as a massive overreaction to what was originally just a hypothetical joke about grappling before Hooker inexcusably dragged a deceased friend into it. Paddy labeled this as the ultimate line crossing, while simultaneously continuing to attack Hooker's fighting abilities, making it crystal clear this beef had become deeply personal and incredibly toxic. Paddy's response was, "Thought we couldn't be mates because I'm ranked above above you. You took a hypothetical joke about how terrible your grappling is and responded by talking trash about my mate who committed suicide. Now that's the lowest of the low, and on sight is fine by me. Your fighting is garbage. While all this chaos unfolded, Arman Tsarukyan basically shrugged off the entire online war between Paddy and Dan, making it obvious he doesn't see either fighter as elite level competition. He deliberately dismissed the whole beef as meaningless noise between two fighters he views as equals, who ultimately don't factor into the real championship conversation.
I just want to say he has no grappling. He trains with guys. He never compete even the high level. He never compete in jiu-jitsu or grappling. I saw him. He had a fight, grappling fight, and he tapped or he lost. So he's a trash can in the grappling and the wrestling.
Now let's dive into Arman Tsarukyan, who's been targeting Paddy's grappling game, openly questioning whether the baddie is actually dangerous once fights hit the mat. Tsarukyan isn't holding back on dismissing Paddy's supposed reputation in grappling, pointing out that Pimblett rarely faces truly elite competition on the ground, which leaves major question marks about his actual abilities. Tsarukyan suggests that recent footage and gym talk only confirm these doubts, implying Paddy's ground game might crumble against a legitimate grappler.
He's been grappling a lot. I know you don't want to talk about him, but how do you feel about his, his grappling tournaments that he's
Lad,
been
I
at?
heard he nearly got triangled by a what's his name?
Shara Magomedov.
Yeah, he nearly got triangled by him, and he can't grapple to save his life either.
It's a tough
He's a
one.
striker, and he nearly got triangled by him. Know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever got any interest of taking those sort of exhibition type things? You know, RAF have got this kind of like grappling thing. Is there ever been like a reach out for like a let's do a grappling match for Pimblett, or is that?
I don't know. Before I was in the UFC years ago, when I was coming back from an injury, I done Polaris one time against Stevie Ray. He caught me in a leg lock. That's like the only one I've done in the past 10 years or something like that. I used to do grappling competitions all the time when I was younger and stuff like that, but obviously I'm focused on fighting now. I don't, like, he can go off and do all these other things if he wants, lad, but hopefully he takes his neck doing them.
Paddy wasn't about to take that line down and fired back hard at Arman Tsarukyan, attacking his grappling credentials and questioning how dominant he actually is on the mat. Paddy aggressively downplayed any grappling success Arman had outside MMA, contrasting it with his own dedicated fighting focus. He made it clear his entire career revolves around octagon performance, not side competitions in grappling tournaments. The exchange turned nasty as Paddy cleverly framed Arman's outside grappling as unnecessary injury risk and used it to fuel their already heated rivalry.
I know you've mentioned wanting to be the backup fighter. Have you had any talks with the UFC about actually officially having that position? Because I think you're really the only guy who could be the backup fighter right now.
No, I didn't talk to them, and I wouldn't cut my weight just for money, because it's a hard. But if they ask me, I'll do that. But they didn't ask, so that's why it's better for me not to cut weight and you know, yeah. Just if I cut, I wanna fight.
For sure, it's I mean, cutting weight is so hard.
I already cut in June, you know, and nothing happened, and just I spent, you know, my energy for the training camp, for the weight cut. It's always stress when you cut your weight, you know.
So here's an interesting twist about Arman Tsarukyan, who previously wanted to stay ready as backup for the massive Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje fight, but now he's made it clear he won't put himself through the hellish weight cutting process without concrete purpose. He explained that despite all the speculation about him being the obvious backup choice, the UFC never actually contacted him with an official offer. Without that direct call from the promotion, he sees zero reason to torture his body through dehydration just for hypothetical opportunities. From Tsarukyan's practical perspective, going through a weight cut is absolutely brutal, and he's already done it once with nothing to show for it. He's now focused on preserving his energy and health, emphasizing he won't drain himself again unless a legitimate confirmed opportunity gets officially presented.
He is. So what about this fucking Arman fella, dude? What are we saying, this posh cunt?
Fuck him. Simple as, lad. I'm getting sick of getting asked about him and people talking about him. Oh, he should be in this interim title fight. He shouldn't fucking headbutt people at weigh-ins then, should he, lad? And punch fans in us when he's walking out, lad, and pull out a title fight the night before. So as far as I'm concerned, lad, he can eat shit, lad, and fucking, as Dana said, he can get back to the drawing board.
Nice. Get that one out of the way early on Arman Tsarukyan. He could have been in the mix for this fight, but I just feel like there's a lot of ulterior factors that people aren't considering other than just his recent win over Dan Hooker. I know he's a top contender, but there's a whole lot that he's done wrong before, and this is the big Paramount debut.
And lad, people are saying like Justin Gaethje, he's older than that lad. He's 2 years older than Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker's like 2 years younger than him.
That's true.
Dan Hooker couldn't grapple a fucking rapist off his ma.
But Paddy Pimblett quickly fired back, placing full responsibility on Arman himself for his current predicament. Paddy unleashed on Arman, calling out his notorious weigh-in drama, those controversial scale moments, and his pattern of last-minute fight withdrawals. Pimblett made it obvious that in his opinion, those specific actions have completely disqualified Tsarukyan from deserving any title shot consideration. He suggested that fighter reliability and professionalism matter just as much as cage performance when earning championship opportunities. And Tsarukyan has failed miserably in that department.
I obviously am not one of these fans, but some fans thought Arman should have been the one to get a 155 title pound shot.
We knew that would happen too.
Of course. Did the headbutt play any factor in the decision to not go with him? It did, right?
A lot of things have factored in, you know.
Speaking of consequences, Dana White himself officially confirmed that Arman Tsarukyan's headbutt incident with Dan Hooker at the weigh-ins genuinely impacted his career trajectory. White directly stated the incident was a real factor in Tsarukyan missing out on a UFC title shot, demonstrating how fighter actions outside the octagon carry serious professional consequences. This serves as a harsh reminder that the UFC holds athletes accountable for their behavior beyond just fight night, emphasizing the critical importance of maintaining professionalism constantly.
Remember, I think it was in LA, you were gonna fight Islam, you messed up your back. What's the recovery been, you know, for, you know, and like what happened? How did you get injured in your back before the fight versus Islam?
So I did the MRI after the fight, and it shows like I don't know how to explain in English, but I have a grisha.
Translate. Let's see. Hernia.
So I have that thing.
Okay.
And I may need surgery, I may not. So we'll see if it's gonna bother me again. I gotta do surgery.
Gotta remove the hernia.
Yeah, remove it.
Gotcha.
So,
was it pretty painful?
Yeah, my back was stuck. You know, I couldn't move.
Man.
And then
Let's unpack another layer of the Arman Tsarukyan situation. He's now revealed the actual reason behind his controversial UFC 311 withdrawal against Islam Makhachev, disclosing it was due to a serious hernia injury. This crucial information explains a withdrawal that generated massive controversy and criticism. Despite having legitimate medical justification for missing the fight, Tsarukyan unfortunately faced intense backlash from fans and media. He continues dealing with lasting consequences from that tough decision, showing how even one withdrawal, regardless of valid reasons, can permanently damage a fighter's reputation and career trajectory. It perfectly illustrates the absolutely unforgiving nature of professional fighting.
Topuria and Islam, Topuria has no chance. Whatever. You think Topuria can beat Islam?
Yeah.
Bro, you
No, at 170,
MMA,
no.
bro.
At 170, no. At 155,
bro, why
yes.
You like working in the interview, guy. You know shit about MMA.
I do. There's no way Ilya Topuria can't.
What's good, bro?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, 165.
No, it's 170 as well.
Islam fighting 170. He's not 155 fighter.
Yeah, that's why I said at 170 I don't think so, but it's close. But at 155 I think Ilya can beat Makhachev. Yeah, very good. No.
He has just boxing. That's it.
He has grappling too.
Where?
He submitted Bryce Mitchell.
The drama keeps rolling for Arman Tsarukyan, who also got into a heated argument with a prominent MMA analyst over Ilya Topuria's potential performance against champion Islam Makhachev. The analyst suggested that while Topuria might compete well at 55 pounds, he couldn't hang at 170. Arman responded with serious fire, quickly dismissing the comment with intense passion. He made it crystal clear he doesn't believe the analyst has sufficient deep knowledge about the sport's complexities to make such definitive statements, essentially suggesting the expert was completely out of his league. This exchange really showcased Arman's confidence in his own strategic understanding and his readiness to challenge supposed authorities in MMA.
At 155 pounds, I don't see anyone beating Ilya Topuria. I just don't.
not Paddy, not Justin. Yeah, all right, there's Arman Sarukian out there, and he's the dark horse. Obviously, Paddy and Justin are fighting for the interim title. That's an interesting fight because Justin, better boxer, better wrestling, never uses the wrestling. Even if he did use the wrestling, you wouldn't really want to take Paddy Pimblett down. Paddy's a lot younger, a lot less miles on the clock, a lot less wear and tear. I'm kind of early leaning towards Paddy Pimblett in that fight. But who's the undisputed champ at the end of 2026? So yeah, 2026, Taporia will still be the champ. Yeah, there's Arman Sarukian out there, but I don't think that fight will materialize.
Looking at a different angle, legendary Michael Bisping has dropped a bold prediction claiming that Ilia Topuria will maintain his championship reign all the way through 2026, confidently stating nobody currently in the division has what it takes to dethrone him yet. Bisping recognizes that Arman Sarukian represents a serious threat lurking as a dangerous wild card who could definitely disrupt everything. However, Bisping doesn't expect a matchup between these two happening in the near future, suggesting the timing just isn't aligned properly. This leaves Topuria's championship run relatively unchallenged and seemingly safe for the immediate future, creating a clear runway for him to cement his divisional legacy without pressing threat. Let's focus on the strategic brilliance of Trevor Wittman, who's dropping fascinating hints about Justin Gaethje's fight preparation. Wittman suggests Gaethje is carefully preparing to reveal a completely different dimension of his fighting arsenal when he potentially faces Paddy Pimblett, with surprising emphasis on his ground game development. Wittman explains that Gaethje's team absolutely isn't treating this as a pure striking battle, which might shock fans familiar with Gaethje's reputation. He emphasizes the massive amount of intensive training Gaethje has invested in developing his wrestling and grappling abilities areas, where he's historically been underestimated. From Wittman's expert perspective, the primary strategy this time centers on aggressive, proactive approaches rather than simply reacting. This means actively implementing Justin's dramatically improved control and his devastatingly heavy ground and pound as main offensive weapon.